Today was the day I finally got to the bottom of this whole mess I was in. And I also got to buy and try out the ultimate in breaking and entering equipment, the gate crashers. With these babies, normal doors would stand no chance against me. I wouldn't even have to bother rewiring them. I could just give them a kick, and as a nice bonus, the door would still take out any guards in the room for me. This would have been very handy in the previous missions of mine. Think of how easy they would have been. With gun in hand, special trousers on, and some kick-ass boots at the ready, I went for it. It was time to sort this out once and for all. I knocked politely at the door with my feet, sending the door flying to announce my entrance. The first guard didn't see anything at first, but he saw the door a little bit too late and it hit him in the face. As there was a light switch in the next room, I decided to play a little game. I was going to try and take out as many guards and lights as I could using just this one light switch. The lights started falling one by one, as did one of the guards when I started playing with the trapdoor on one of the floors. I might have been a bit angry at this point as I couldn't kick the doors in with my new toys because the guards were around, so I used the doors for what I'd normally use them, and knocked out the guards by opening them in their faces. I then wired the switch to one of the guards' guns, causing him to shoot one of his mates in the back. So the count ended up at 3 sets of lights and about 4 guards, to all silence from one light switch. This was a new record for me. I started making my way upstairs, carefully, to avoid tripping over the big pile of knocked out guards. I couldn't unwire the alarm at the top of the stairs, so I instead decided to use it, using the noise it made to start a chain reaction that opened the trapdoor for me. One more set of things to hack, I set about seeing what I could do, but I could do nowhere near as much stuff as I could with that light switch on the ground floor. I turned off a few lights and tried to open the doors in the next hack point, before realising that the doors automatically closed after a few seconds, and more importantly, the boots couldn't help. It's almost as if something knew that I would have these boots that could make short work of normal doors by now, and put in a load of stuff that I'd have to get past that wasn't a normal door. I managed to make my way past these special doors by setting them both off at once, and got to the next hack point, realising that it didn't seem to help much at all. I went upstairs and used the trousers on the guy on the floor above. Then went up another floor and took out 2 more guards while their backs were turned. I was starting to feel like an actual proper spy with all of this sneaking about. I got to the next hack point, turned off a few more lights, realising that yet again this was largely useless. After a minor misstep when going downstairs, I hatched a new plan. I would try to break into the room with the guard and the next hack point, but breaking the glass was going to be hard as I couldn't get the right angle for the jump. I set things up on the entrance to the Intex CEO's office, so it would be ready for me to charge in. It was then that I had my plan. I didn't have to break the window myself, I could get the guard to do it for me. I played with the lights to annoy him, so he started to move about. Then I went to the window and started doing my impression of one of the moles from the whack-a-mole game. It wasn't long before he shot at the window to try to get me, and the rest was simple, as he never bothered to check the area below the window despite seeing me go down there. I got hold of another laptop. It seemed KT's suicide wasn't part of Mr. Sweary's plans, and that he made most of his plans drunk, which would explain a lot of things. With the final hack point claimed, I could rewire Mr. Sweary's gun, so I set it to close the door so it would instead trap me in the room with him so I could punch him. With that, it was time. I climbed the building and I went into the room with the killer. However, he was quicker with the trousers than I was. He lunged at me, knocked me out the window and started punching me. He was using fists, so I cheated and used my gun instead. Turns out the gun beats fist, who knew? I was worried about the police turning up now it had been a gunshot, but I had a feeling they would take a bit of time to get here, so I had time to get back upstairs. However, the fall must have affected me somehow, as my climbing gloves stopped working at times, causing me to fall back down a few times before I could make it back up to the top floor. Once I got there, I wired the camera to open the door, and prepared to run into the room to get Mr. Sweary. However, he was quicker on the draw than I expected, so I opened the door, he fired his gun, which closed the door again as I ran into it, causing me to instinctively kick the door, knocking it off the hinges and sending it flying into him. Well, at least I got to use my new boots to get him. Just wasn't how I planned it. Looked impressive, however. With the final mission over, I leapt to victory. I could now rest. So there we have it, Diary. I made a load of money, I've solved a lot of problems. The city would still be a hive of villainy and gits, but there was one less to worry about. Did I do it alright? I will never know, but I do know one thing. These door-kicking boots are awesome, but the trousers are even better.